What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. It seems the claws are out in the Labour leadership contest now, with Sir Keir Starmer being accused of breaching data protection and Rebecca Long-Bailey's camp being accused of grassing them up, with the Labour Party reporting members of Sir Keir Starmer's campaign to the Information Commissioner, accusing them of hacking into the party's membership database. As you can see, is being reported by the BBC here, and they also discussed on Politics Live, which we will take a look at in a moment. But the headlines: Labour accuses Sir Keir Starmer campaign team of data breach. The allegations were made against two members of Sir Keir's team. One of them is his compliance official, so he's not being very compliant apparently, is he? They were passed to the Information Commissioner's office on Thursday. Obviously, Sir Keir Starmer and his team are saying this is utter nonsense, as you would expect, but it's not just Sir Keir Starmer that's in hot water with relations to this data. We also have Rebecca Long-Bailey. It emerged last week the rival campaign of Rebecca Long-Bailey had circulated links to volunteers capable of allowing access to the membership database. Her team say, done innocently. Well, much like Sir Keir Starmer, them saying that does not surprise me, but it would certainly appear that both sides might be up to no good. But to top it off, we have this Mail article where Sir Keir Starmer's supporters are attacking Corbyn in a skirt for stitching him up. It's the stitch up we always knew was coming. Keir Starmer supporters blast party gangsters and accuse them of trying to help Corbynista rival Rebecca Long-Bailey win the leadership election amid furious row over alleged data breaches. So like I said, guys, the knives are officially out here, which will give us much more of Labour's kinder, gentler politics for us to see. This time, they will be turning it on each other though, rather than Brexiteers. Supporters of Sir Keir Starmer launched a furious attack on the Labour Party machine today, accusing it of a stitch-up designed to help his Corbynista rival Rebecca Long-Bailey. They lashed out at gangsters in the party trying to influence the vote after the shadow Brexit Secretary's team was accused of hacking data on the day his mother-in-law died. Which, I'm sorry for his mother-in-law, of course you don't want to wish anyone dead, but it's not really relevant to this story, so I don't know why they've tried to say that. Rest in peace to her, but that doesn't mean you can avoid being called out. If it is of course true, they're only allegations at the moment. Two of the front-runners' staff were reported to the Information Commissioner for allegedly infiltrating the party membership database yesterday during a weekend when he halted campaigning as he supported his family. So it wouldn't have been anything to do with him, it's definitely someone in his team, though it makes him look like a bit of an arsehole, let's be honest. Separately, a Labour MP who is not part of his campaign said it was the stitch-up we always knew was coming. So they expected the Corbynistas to play by some dirty tricks. Mind you, I expect they would be right. They are trying to use the full force and weight of the party machine to skew the result, they told Politico. Well, there certainly is plenty of rumours rolling about Labour trying to skew the results of things. Peterborough comes to mind. Only under the toxic culture of this regime could serious allegations against Rebecca Long-Bailey mean the whistleblowers are the ones reported, while there is no response to the original complaint. So it would seem the infighting definitely has been going on for a while, as Sir Keir Starmer has complained about Rebecca Long-Bailey that has been ignored and instead turned onto them and then released to the media yesterday. So I wonder who's involved in all this then. Do we think the Corbynated chicken's got his little fingers and pies involved? You'd have to let me know down in the comments, guys. I think it's certainly a possibility. These people are gangsters and they're actively trying to favour one candidate over all others. I wouldn't call them gangsters, I'd call them wankers. I don't know about gangsters though. They lack the credibility on the street. Labour's General Secretary Jenny Thornberry has written to all candidates following the reports about alleged misuse of membership data and party systems. It is understood Labour is conducting a thorough investigation into the claims. I wonder if they're anything like their anti-Semitism investigations. They weren't exactly thorough, were they? Hopefully they're somewhat better. But it will be funny to see what has actually gone on. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of that. So, as you would expect, Sir Keir Starmer's team is blaming Rebecca Long-Bailey, and it would seem there might be a reason why, because of course, Sir Keir Starmer's team had put in a complaint about Rebecca Long-Bailey's team and their conduct in this election campaign. But it does seem to me like a load of tit-for-tat bullshit, and they've both been up to no good, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest, and I'm sure it doesn't surprise any of you. Now we can take a quick look at the Politics Live show where this debacle was discussed earlier.
Let's show this headline in The Times newspaper today. Labour at war after Starmer campaign accused of hacking. I'm going to welcome on the chair of the Keir Starmer campaign, Jenny Chapman. While she's taking her seat, let's go to John Pienaar, who broke this story, the BBC's deputy political editor. John, what's happened?
Well, the Information Commissioner is now in possession of the report from the Labour Party, which, as we now know, accuses the Keir Starmer campaign, or two individuals in that campaign, of a breach of data, specifically the Labour Party's mass membership database. It's called Dialogue, and they're looking at that report, looking at that complaint. Now, how long will that take? Well, the Commission, I spoke to them just a moment or two ago, and they were helpfully able to narrow the timing of that investigation down to days, weeks or months. So we'll just have to wait and see how long that takes. But meanwhile, as you know, Joe, plenty of fallout over this, with the Labour Party saying they were doing their duty. They say they were they were reporting a breach of their database, potentially a breach of the Data Protection Act and European law. And meanwhile, around the party, all sorts of recriminations and some accusations in the background of dirty tricks, that this, say some, is an attempt to knock the wheels off Keir Starmer's bandwagon.
Right, and it originated, didn't it, from an accidental, as it was called, breach by the Rebecca Long-Bailey campaign?
It did originate from that. Some time ago, some days ago, Rebecca Long-Bailey's campaign, as it were, identified a path which would lead anyone doing it, following the path to the gateway of this database. Now, they say that was not the intention. It was about following this link through that page, through that link, a kind of a trail of digital breadcrumbs. And there was no ill intent there, they say, and no action was taken. And the Keir Starmer side are now saying they were simply investigating that vulnerability in this database with no intention whatsoever to use it, to exploit it in any improper way. And that's really where we are now. And it's turned what had been a fairly sedate leadership campaign into something, well, rather ugly.
Well, absolutely. As you say, it sort of burst open, and certainly in the newspapers with your story. In terms of the actual practical impact on the Keir Starmer campaign, you talked about the investigation. We don't know how long it's going to take. What could that mean for the campaign?
Well, there's been some speculation, I'm sure you know, this morning in parts of the press, that as a result of this investigation, the Keir Starmer campaign could be denied access to the database.
Right, so you can see it there. They've both been up to no good. The Information Commissioner's got it. But when Rebecca Long-Bailey's camp got found out for it, nothing happened. Now that Sir Keir Starmer's camp has been found to do it, they're sending out reports on it. So maybe Sir Keir Starmer's team is right that this is a bit of a stitch-up. It certainly looks like it to me, and I absolutely fucking love it, because they are now eating themselves, which I'm sure you will all agree is great news. Like, in all honesty, none of these people are actually going to get elected as Prime Minister, but watching them all fight amongst themselves for the scraps off Boris Johnson's table does give me warm feelings throughout. I have to say, it's almost as enjoyable as watching us leave the EU just over a week ago now.
The database weren't operating outside of party rules.
Well, what's happened here is two members of the Keir Starmer campaign have been accused of committing a criminal act. They have been accused of scraping data. Now, I had to look that up to find out what that meant, and of hacking. And these are very, very serious allegations, and there is no evidence, nothing to substantiate them whatsoever. And what has also happened is that allegation somehow has found its way to John Pienaar and has been publicised, including the naming of these two individuals who've been accused of something criminal. Now, you know, this is utter nonsense. This is something that Labour Party members will be just having their heads in their hands over. This is not what we want to see. And, you know, I just think the Labour Party, they need to withdraw that allegation because it is so serious and it's affecting those two individuals who've been named publicly. And I think they need to withdraw that because there is no evidence to support that allegation because it just simply didn't happen.
Right.
There you can see it. She is the chair of Sir Keir Starmer's campaign, demanding that the Labour Party retract the accusations, because not only have they released the names of these people, which personally I don't agree with, They shouldn't just be outed to the public like that. I ain't gonna say their names, I haven't even looked for them, I don't really care. But you can see the way she's sitting there, she is pretty pissed off with the Labour Party and this sneaky trick. Because to me, it does seem like it is a bit of a sneaky trick, but I don't really care. I absolutely fucking love it. I think it's great that they're turning on each other and putting stories in the press about each other, as she's just pointed out, because they gave it to the BBC. You really couldn't make this shit up, could you?
So you want Jenny Formby, the General Secretary of the Labour Party, to intervene and actually withdraw that allegation?
That allegation needs to be withdrawn because it's unfair to make an allegation as serious as that. Whether or not there's a campaign going on isn't the point. You can't go around making those allegations against individuals and having their names ending up in the public domain. That's not right, and that should be withdrawn. Right,
and you've questioned how this has ended up in John Pinar's hands, whom we've just spoken to. Where do you think it does come from? Well, I'm not making any allegations. You know, I don't want to sit here and complain about other people making allegations, then make some of my own. I just think that what's happened, you know, isn't right and it needs to be corrected. And, you know, we're very mindful of our responsibilities around data. Of course we are. Data in a political campaign these days is precious, and it's important that it's protected and dealt with responsibly and in compliance with the law. And I support that approach, of course I do. But what's happened here is that allegations have been flung around of the very, very serious, Joe. This is a criminal act that they're being accused of. So do you think it's maliciously meant then? I'm not making... I cannot possibly know the motive. I can't know that. And that's not for me to say. But I do need to protect people who are working on this campaign who've had this accusation laid at their door.
In my opinion, she practically said she thinks this is a political attack against Sir Keir Starmer and his team to try and derail him. She didn't say it in as many words, but I'm pretty sure that's what she meant at the beginning and was just very careful not to accuse anyone. But I would suggest she's talking about the Labour Party machine as it stands under the Corbynated chicken, with of course Corbyn in a skirt benefiting mostly from this. But I don't mind that, because if they put Rebecca Long-Bailey as the leader of the Labour Party, they ain't getting in for another 25 years, because she'll lose 2 elections before she quits, and then they'll have to have another leader, and it will take them another 10 or 15 years just to be able to claw back what they've lost to the Tories in that time. But like I said, the knives are fully out, not from Sir Keir Starmer's campaign, but definitely from the other side, trying to take him down. Long may this shit continue, that's all I will say. Let's check out Darren Grimes quickly shitting on the Labour Party though before I end this video. Of course in relation to the story we've been talking about here, and the candidates in general, because he lives in one of the constituencies that recently turned from Labour to the Tories.
Would be an absolutely outstanding leader of the Labour Party, but the key thing is, let's make sure that this competition is about policies and ideas and not about mudslinging. Right, but it is turning ugly, one might say, looking at where you are at this very moment. And we can show you this tweet. It says CLP nominations, that's constituency Labour Party nominations, a certain number are needed by the candidates to make it through after February the 14th, which is on Friday. Darren, let me show you this. Islington North CLP, that of course is the CLP in Jeremy Corbyn's constituency, nominates Keir Starmer to be leader of the Labour Party, Angela Rayner to be deputy leader of the Labour Party, and this CLP nominated Jeremy Corbyn in 2015 and 2016. Is that unifying as far as you're concerned?
I mean, I was pretty shocked to see that Islington North constituency Labour Party had done that. But
who were you expecting?
Well, someone more to the left, I think. Although Keir Starmer is pretty left-wing, they have a wide variety of quite left-leaning candidates this time around. What I would say, though, is as someone who comes from a seat, North West Durham, that just turned Tory, I think this sort of thing is entirely self-indulgent. I can't understand why anyone out there watching this would be thinking the Labour Party is going to win me back, they're going to win me over to them, when we're talking about dirty tricks and tactics potentially to throw people off voting a certain way. I just find it all a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's my worry too, is that people, certainly the public, will look at this in utter despair and bemusement probably. But it's
They're
the
not looking at it very much,
well,
actually. That's the lucky
absolutely.
thing from
No,
your point
Deborah,
of
that's
view.
a
Is that
really
true?
important
Yes,
point.
it is true. They're not there. I did focus groups last week, and only one person in each of the two groups I did could name any of the candidates at all. They're not looking at the moment, and I think, you know, long may it continue.
Well,
Right, so you can see that the constituency Labour Party for Jeremy Corbyn's seat has actually come out and backed Sir Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner for leader and deputy leader respectively, which is a great shock to me and of course Darren Grimes, who I'm sure would have expected it to go to Rebecca Long-Bailey. Perhaps the constituency Labour Party is learning a lesson where Jeremy Corbyn and the rest of them are not. They are so desperate to push Rebecca Long-Bailey into the leadership so she can carry on his radical plan. That will never see them in government, so maybe we should all back Rebecca Long-Bailey for leader. As Darren says though, he was expecting someone more to the left, as were we all. But he is right in saying that this is not going to bring any of the people who left Labour last time back into the fold, that is for sure. So like I said earlier about the infighting between these two camps, Labour are absolutely screwed with any of the leadership candidates. It doesn't matter which one they choose, they are completely unelectable because they're all low down dirty snakes. Then we also have to remember most of the places that left Labour in the 2019 election were all Leave voting constituencies. Every single Labour leadership candidate voted to remain and actively tried to stop Brexit at every single turn. Like Darren says, they are unelectable, they are not going to bring anyone back, end of story. So guys, this has been a bit of a long one, but it's definitely a good news video, and I absolutely love it. They're turning on each other and chewing each other's faces off, which, in turn, is going to keep these lunatics out of our government. You know, the most important thing of all. But on that note guys, I am going to end the video there. Now before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot, and I will see you all in the next one.